Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of the All Things Ten podcast. My name is Akitsunde and I'm very delighted, to bring you another lovely episode. Last week we did dealing with hurt and, those of you who have been hurt in time past, that's a very good episode for you to listen to. Today, drum rolls, we have a special guest. She's a woman of timber and caliber. She's a woman with great steez and composure. I'm not gonna show her face yet, but she carries so much wisdom and she's ready to share with us on a topic titled "Trust Men and the Modern Women." Trust men and the modern woman. Okay, so obviously you can start, guessing what this would be about. But before we do any other thing, please follow our podcast on Apple Podcast, in Spotify, YouTube, and almost everywhere that you get your podcast. We're there, and we have an Instagram channel and a WhatsApp channel as well. bit.ly/ATTP on WhatsApp. So follow all of that. Let's take a quick break and then we're gonna start. Okay, welcome back everybody. Now to introduce the guest. Welcome. Magic.
Here I am. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to today's episode. I was going to mention it, but I was just like, okay, no, let me allow you to do your own introduction.
Yeah, sometimes it's just, let me blow my own trumpet this time.
So can we meet you?
Yeah, my name is Oluwaseun.
Wow, very simple and precise.
Simple. Yeah, very simple, short and precise, or Seun for short.
Why do you think you're the right guest for today?
Am I? We'll know if I'm the right guest or not. I think being a millennial / Gen Z, yeah. I like to put myself as a Gen Z, emphasis on Gen Z. Being a millennial, I think it's where kind of the trending, like when it comes to men or relationship issues, it's kind of more valid for millennials at this stage. Yeah, Gen Zs can also impute, but they probably don't have as much intellect. I would say they don't have, but they don't have as much as what a millennial would carry. So
they probably don't have as much experience.
Yes.
And experience is very important.
Oh, absolutely. Experience is the best teacher.
Okay. Now that you say that.
It's the best teacher.
The first question for you. Do you think men are failing at manhood today?
Actually, to a certain extent, I'll say yes. Okay. And sorry, my
do you need me to adjust that?
No, it's just being a woman with steez, the wig has to kind of
never to be cut on fresh.
Exactly. So even I cannot unsteez myself. To the question. Are men failing today at manhood?
Yeah.
To a large extent, you can say yes, and also you can say no. And this all depends on the kind of people you are seeing. But then at the same time, if you look at what is going on in the media world today, what we can see, there's a high percentage that men are failing at manhood, and it's all on different, manhood is not just being a man, but other things and that responsibilities that they're doing. And we see a lot of men are failing at it. And again, my wig is gonna unsteeze me. But
we talked about that last week.
Yeah. So, you just have to maintain it. So I'm gonna try and maintain what doesn't matter. I'm not gonna be distracted by this. Okay. Yeah, men are to a large extent, like I said earlier on, men are failing at manhood. And manhood is not just by you being a man, the way in Africa, I'll say in Nigeria precisely, when we talk about manhood, we think about the private part and that's all.
Yeah.
But manhood goes into different aspects. It talks about the way you lead, the way you reason, the way you carry yourself, and your position, and also your experience and the value you bring into the community, the family, and work as well. So, men are failing because a lot of times they've seen at this stage now it's starting to become more of a competition. I've seen in some scenario where a man doesn't want his wife to succeed because he thinks that, if his wife succeeds, then she is unable to tell her to do things in the house. And it's like, well, if you're not failing at your job as a man, as a husband of the house, you would not be afraid of your wife being a successful person. Like you should be proud of it. It's become more of, my wife is doing this, I have to do better. Why? Like you're not designed that way. You're designed to just lead. Yeah. You're designed to do other things rather than just looking and competing with your partner. And it doesn't have to just be partner, it could be anything. Like you find men, like there's a whole lot of things, maybe because of the situation now where the social media is helping and we can see so many things. We can almost tell like 80% of any news you hear, there's always a man involved in it. And it's like, what's going on? Have you not got a job? Like, what are you doing what are you doing with your spare time? Yeah. Like, for example, you see men that they have multiple children with different women, and you cannot even afford to feed one of them properly. And it's like, what is going on here? Like, how did we get to this space? How did we get to this thing?
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
I love where you're going with the conversation, but it was kind of raising some sort of questions in my mind. What exactly is a man meant to bring to the table? And what exactly is a woman meant to bring to the table? Because if there's no clarity on those two, would I say roles or two human beings, then we are going to have issues,
Yeah. So first and foremost, I like to always say, when someone asks me that, what do I bring to the table? I'm like, I'm the table. I'm not trying to blow my trumpet, but again, I'm the table. But jokes aside, a man and a woman coming together or separately, a man brings in power, it brings in protection, security, and a woman brings in warmth. One thing that a woman is also a provider. A man is a provider, but it depends on how you see it. So I'll give an instance of what we see online regularly, or what I can say that is in our daily life. If you give a woman peace of mind, like no argument, nothing, like you're kind of understanding her, she's absolutely going to give you the same thing back. No woman in her right mind wants to have a disturbed lifestyle. She wants to, like, if you ask 99% of every woman out there that they're sane now, emphasis on sane women, and you ask them what do you want, they just want to be taken care of, being pampered, loved,
baby girl
for life, like have the right, like don't, like you can work but you still have someone, a shoulder to cry on. And a woman will also naturally, women have, we're all born with the maternal instinct where you're just naturally caring. So a woman brings in the care, she brings in the warmth. If when the winter comes now, thankfully we're getting closer to winter again, you're quick to get back into the house and you can feel the warmth and you're like, oh, finally I'm home. That's what a woman is. Whether it's even at work, whether you have somebody that you can always fall back on. And it's the same for a man as well, that he has things to do, like he's providing. He's also to listen to a woman, and it's a vice versa. It's not a matter of, oh, I'm the man, I'm the woman, like I'm better off than you. Yeah, I can give you your honor as the head of the family, like this is what the respect and all, but at the same time you have to give me mine as well. Yeah, I'm the woman, but respect is reciprocal.
Is there true equality?
Is there what?
Is there true equality amongst, like, there's a context in which you can speak about marriage. There's a context in which you can speak about just human interaction. Should there be, or is there genuine equality between men and women? And does that play out in everyday interaction with just everyday people and in marriage? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think I do.
Okay.
I don't think that there is equality, first and foremost.
Like in anything.
With men, and when it comes to men and women, there is no equality, 100%. Okay, if there is equality, can you tell me the first woman president of Nigeria?
None.
Exactly. Why?
Yeah, because they didn't run for it.
Are you sure?
Like
But there's never been any.
No, like,
I don't want to turn it around now.
Obviously, like number one, like I mean, we've had like I think Obi Ezekwesili, run like in Nigeria in recent times, but I would probably say it's a male-dominated field. But
what makes it male-dominated? I feel like I'm the one doing the podcast here.
It's okay. Like, first of all, I would probably say like over time, like our society has evolved into like certain spaces where men have kind of felt that this is what we should do. Like for example, in very challenging fields or career paths like construction, engineering, it's a male-dominated field, and that's because the perception of the society is that women are seen as the weaker vessels or people who are very fragile, and so let's treat them as such. And so anything that would require like going head on, confronting, challenging people, doing like the hard work and stuff like that, women are not usually considered to be people who have that kind of energy to do that sort of stuff.
And I don't want to say I agree with you, but do you think because it's a male-dominated area, it's safer because it's just men that are involved, or it's unsafe? And the reason why I'm asking is I used to work in construction, and it was 99% of men. And one of the reasons why I actually left it, because I'll use the reasons why I left was because when I was on site, there was not always toilet for the female, and the female toilet was being used by the male, and it was always horrendous when you go in there. The smell, the way it looks like, it was just horrible. But as time goes on, when we had a female toilet, when you finally kind of fight for it, like you still need to have a female toilet, and it should be locked. We had one, but one thing now, I was a safety officer on some site in Dublin here, and a lot of mistakes that were happening, a lot of things that were happening as a health and safety officer that I saw that it was just common sense. And that is one thing that, no offense, it's a male-dominated area, but it was very far from them.
Wow.
Like there were things that they were common sense. And I realized that as a health and safety officer, there was more of women being the safety officers than male being the safety officers. And in the process of that, when I was talking to some of the male, like when you have a talk with them, like you're giving them advice, you're always advising them what you should do. You're like, this thing is common sense. So sometimes
they don't listen to you when you advise.
It's hard. Like I had an experience with one site I was on that it was from a different region. I think it was a Romanian guy, and when I was trying to advise him as a safety officer on site, telling him, you can imagine using a bucket of paint to be painting rather than using a proper ladder. And the reason is that paint could, like your weight is not designed for that. It could break, you could slip, and you could hit your head on something. But he didn't see that way. He just thought he was just going to paint real quick and that's it. And I explained to him, but he wasn't happy with the fact that I'm a woman. And it was like, women listen to, you can't tell me what to do, and women have to listen to me. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Is the person African?
No, it was a Romanian guy.
Really?
And I was like, I'm sorry, that's your wife, that's your personal thing. But when you're at work here, you don't do that. You can't do that. And it took him, he didn't accept. I had to get the project manager involved, and the project manager had to explain to him that, well, I'm sorry, your wife might always be behind you. And he said it was like his wife has to be behind him. And there's some cultures like that. And I am not against cultures. I love culture. I love people to respect each and everyone's culture. But when we are in the plain ground, when we're on the plain level, work, life, you've got to be fair. Like me telling a man that this is what you should be doing, and the first thing he's telling me is, shut up. You're not to tell me anything. I'd rather listen to a man. But even if the man is going to say absolutely rubbish. For example, you say that the world is like, is it fair? I'm going back to your question. It's not fair. I'm going to use currently, there hasn't been much investigation or more studies done on the period for women. I don't know if that's a topic you really want to go into, but
that's
like the period pads, the sanitary pads, the towels that is being used, the things it causes in a woman. There hasn't been much studies done on it. And do you know who are the main manufacturers of all these things? Men.
Men design company.
It's mainly run by men, like
Yeah,
run
but
by
women
men.
can set up their own establishments.
Yeah,
as well,
but are they giving them the chance though? Because like you said, men see women as a weaker vessel. They think, oh, you're not reasoning well enough. You can't think for yourself. Or you're going to get pregnant. You're going to have this. But we're the one using these things. We're the one that know how we affect. Like sometimes as a woman, and women's body are all different. Like the first woman, like if you have 5 women here and you ask them to describe how their period is, some people's period start like even before the period starts. There's always like a headache. There's always acne on their face. There's always a period. Exactly. But for a man, you have zero idea about these things. And when I go to my manager, for example, to tell him that, oh, I'm not feeling too well, in his head, he doesn't understand. He just thinks relate. It's just like, oh, it's just headache, it's just flu. It's not thinking of there are other things. I can't come to you like some days I have to take days off work and stay at home because I'm having a very bad cramps. I'm rolling on the bed, but there's no provision for that.
But that's an education problem. Like
is it though? But is it not the fact that men are just in there because they're the one at the, like you have 90% of men in the education system as well. They're the ones ruling everything.
If I may ask you, like how many men have you taken time to explain this whole process?
Why do I need to explain?
Like, but an average man wouldn't know what a woman goes through.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean, if you don't engage in that conversation with the same man. Like personally, as I am, like if I had never had an interaction with a lady and dated a lady and not known like our mood swings and everything like that, I probably wouldn't know like, oh, at this time of this period of time, like this person is usually like, you know, here and there and all of that, and other times like they're very hula baloo and all of this things like that. So so you know, like everybody, like a man is a man and he doesn't know what being a woman is like.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
A woman is a woman.
Yeah, that
wait, you said a man is a man. A woman is a woman, but a woman knows a man.
How?
I know when
men are very simple to understand, though.
Oh, and women are complicated. Is that what you're saying?
I don't understand.
You just said men. You just said it. You just said women. Men are simple. Opposite of simple is complicated. It's hard.
So first of all, like one of the things I would actually love to follow up on what you were saying earlier was that, do you really think women need like, you know, maybe holidays to be given to them when they're going through their periods?
Yeah, there's actually a country, I can't remember the name of the country now, but if you Google it, there's a country that you have time off for things like that. And it's lovely, it's great because then you don't feel bad. Like it's not as if you're going to, some people, I have a friend when I was in secondary school, she was always absent for 2 weeks. Sometimes I had an auntie before she started having children. She was always in the hospital bed for a full week, getting drips, and this is because of her period. There's so many things that goes on in a woman's body. So it would be great.
So if we give a woman, let's say 5 days a week, like in a month,
yeah,
and then in a year, that's almost like 125 days or more. You know, how is a business going to be productive that way?
And how is that affecting the business? So what makes you think that while she's going through this cramp period, she's not able to work?
Is she still able to work?
If she's able to work, she would work. And that's one thing I know. Women are hardworking. And if you give them the opportunity to bring out themselves and be free with them, like I'm at home. For example, where I currently work, they allow me to work from home sometimes. And one thing I love is the fact that I'm working from home. I see that I put in more work. And if you look at the studies, they've shown that people, when you're actually working from home, you do more than when you're in the office, because you want to compensate the fact that you're working from home. Yeah. And when you give somebody, fine, some women might not have they might not even have the strength at all because they're so weak. Like some of them have to be on the hospital bed for a week. You can't expect that kind of person to be to be working. But if she does have the opportunity, I can say for a fact that a woman will be very happy to work from home while she's on her period, and she can come in, do things, and even afterwards, the fact that you've given her 5 days. For myself, if I've been given 5 days off to say, okay, for your period, here you go, or 3 days for you, at least you have a few days that they're heavy period and all. Okay, for this period you have this, and you give me that. One thing I can say that by the time I'm back to work, I'm gonna want to compensate back on those time that I've taken. This is myself, discipline. Like, and women are more disciplined than men.
Really?
Oh, we're not gonna go into that. We're not going to go into that, are we? We know for a fact that women are very disciplined. I'm not all, but women,
including millennials and Gen Zs.
Yeah,
women.
Yeah. I feel like you disagree on that.
Like I don't agree. I think it's just an individual thing. I don't think it's a gender related issue.
But I do,
honestly.
Okay, let's leave Gen Zs away because they have a different way of reasoning.
Yeah.
And that is because it's not their fault. It's the way the world has turned into. Yeah. And it's also something that it's a gradual process. It's not something that happened overnight. Yeah. So it's something that dripped from the baby boomers into the Gen X baby boomers, then millennials, and then Gen Z. Yeah. So it's something that's kind of dripped down gradually. And if there's a leak on the roof and you're not clean, if you're not taking care of it, it's going to damage the entire roof. And at the end of it all, it's going to damage the building. Yeah. So it's a gradual process. And where we are right now is we've left when the Gen X or the baby boomers, when they were doing their thing, they didn't think of the future. And if you look at those time past, it was majorly men that had says. Women didn't have a lot of says. It is now in this new generation, let's say in the past 25 years, that women are only starting to have a voice. And even in some countries, women are still not allowed. I think it's one of the Taliban. Yeah. I was listening to the news last week or so. They're not allowed. Like the women, they have a specific time to come out and do all those things in this modern day and age. I'm not saying and again, I respect cultures. I'm not saying that's wrong. Like that's the way they want to run their thing. But you should be able to see that men have always been in position. And like we all say, I don't know if you're a history person, but if you look at World War I, World War II, and impending World War III is coming. Who are in charge?
Man.
No. Please be very audible.
So do you think women are not like if women were in power like that, the likelihood of that happening is very
low. And you know what women would rather do? They'll stop talking to each other. But the ego in men, exactly, we'll keep malice at each other. We're very great at that. But with men, because you want to show you're more powerful than the other man, you're ready to destroy thousands of lives.
So by keeping malice, does that?
I'm saving life.
Really?
Yeah. I'm saving, I'm not talking...
So keeping malice is an effective way of running a country?
Well, I wouldn't say it's an effective way, but I'm not going to say keeping malice, but they'll come down to something.
How has keeping malice worked out for people who are married, for example?
That's a different game.
Because eventually, someone has to make the decision, which is what the men usually...
But at the end of it all, the decisions men make, sometimes it's... No offense to men listening, it's stupid.
I want to take us back to a particular discussion that we were having, and that's the modern man that we're seeing today. A lot of them are confused, and a lot of men are. And partly because they don't really understand what they are meant to be doing. They don't understand what being a male man is. They don't understand how to show up in the society. They don't understand, maybe some of them don't even have clear-cut values that they live by and all of this things like that. Is that the fault of the parents?
Yes.
Really?
To a certain extent. It's not, you see... I can't say, like I said, I will always use a certain extent to everything because you cannot always blame somebody 100%. There's always other factors in it. And it could be the community, the environment, if there's a relocation involved. Yeah. So many things come into effect as well to make us 100%. Yeah. So I can't say, for example, if I want to use myself that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, it's not 100% me. There's the church community involved, there's my family involved, there is my friendships involved, there's relationship involved, there is work involved, there is where the things I see every day, the media involved as well. So it's not 100% you blaming one particular sector for failing, but in the current way that men are right now, a lot of things has come back from, a lot of the fault I would say is from the parent to...
How so?
Okay, so I was saying we're discussing some time ago with yourself, and we're talking about the fact that when you have a child, a male child, and is the firstborn in Nigeria. Now I'm going to use, because I'm a proud Nigerian Irish, but this is what I know better. And one thing is, when you have a boy, and you have a girl, let's say they're both born same day by yourself, twins, you tend to focus on the boy in some things and focus on the girls on some things. For example, the girl is more inclined, like I started cooking at a very young age. I think I started cooking at age 7. A boy would probably not even be allowed in the kitchen at that stage because in the Nigerian sector, it doesn't know, it's going to disorganize it. Or the Yoruba, if I'm allowed to say this, kwitig motonye. But the girl is allowed. The girl is allowed to go into the kitchen, follow mommy. Mommy is cooking. Go and stay with mommy. What are you doing there? Go and stay with your mother in the kitchen. But where is the boy? Is in the sitting room watching or playing a game. Why? And these are the things that they've ended up, like I said earlier on, that when a roof is faulty and there's rain constantly, and if you don't maintain or fix it as soon as possible, it's going to cause a long-term effect. It's going to damage the roof. You're going to have to fix it, and if possible, if hopefully there's no crack in the house, it's going to start leaking, dripping into the house, cause like the cement and everything, the concrete, and it's going to be faulty. And this is from a very tiny drop of constant rain.
Let me play the devil's advocate to respond to what you just said there. And just let's quickly go on a short break. So I said I was going to play the devil's advocate. Now you said women, for example, or ladies, once at the infancy stage, men or guys are usually told, okay, go stay away, you're going to watch the TV, play, have fun and stuff like that. Women are taken, to do like the hard bits at home, the house chores, cooking and stuff like that. I want to see it from a different perspective. That shows that you're saying that, like, okay, more attention is being placed on the female child. On
some things. On the boys, the attention is focused on them to learn how to provide.
Okay.
And that's it. Not to nurture, not to do anything, just to provide.
Yeah, but do you not think that the problems you're seeing today is also because there is no maternal part of interaction with the male? Because today you'd see a lot of men don't open up. They don't talk. They are not vulnerable. That's partly also because they don't get that sort of attention that the female child gets.
Yeah.
So is that their fault as guys?
It's not their fault because it's something that they've been trained with. So they don't know, they don't understand the concept of being opening up. And I always tell people that are around me, the men around me, I always say to them, like, if you're having a problem, you're going through anything in life, it's okay for you to cry. Crying, talking about it doesn't make you less of a man. It doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you a stronger person.
But do women create safe space for men to speak?
See, you have got to have intentional people in your life that they will create a safe space for you. And you have to understand that it's a two-way street. If you create a safe space for me to talk to you, I'm not insane. Again, in the normal, a normal woman would also create a safe space for you to talk. If, for example, you're talking to me and then you've done something bad to me, I should be able to tell you that this is what you've done. And when I tell you, you don't use it against me in the future to say, well, this is exactly what you've done. That alone would not make me to have a safe space with you again. But when I tell you something and you don't use it against me, and you tell me something and I don't use it against you, it's a safe space.
But I see that as a character deficiency, because if, let's say, for example, like, you tell me something and then I use it against you in the future, is that not something you could help me get better, like to work on and become a better person? But what if I don't know that, like, it's a weakness?
But what if I've told you several times, like, this is what you're doing, I don't like this.
But how you tell me also matters.
It's how you're receiving it as well, though. If you're receiving it from the place of this, okay, my friend is telling me that.
Fire.
If my friend is telling me that, okay, let's say, for example, I told you that, I'm like, this guy that I'm dating is doing this. And then down the line, maybe we're no longer together, and you end up using it against me to tell me that, well, the first guy you dated, this is what you did. The second guy, this is the same thing. But you're my friend. You should be able to tell me, not when I'm currently hurting, to tell me that, okay, Shehu, how about you look at it this way? You've dated this guy, it didn't work out this way. You've dated this guy, it didn't work out. These two guys, these are the things they have in similarities. How about we try a different approach? But when I'm telling you right now that I'm going through a heartbreak, and you're now telling me that the first guy you did, the second the guy you did, how do you want me to be able to know that you're in a safe space? How?
But you don't get angry if your parents did that to you.
Yeah, because see, I don't know if you've seen this thing where people do where they say trauma, the trauma that our parents have, sometimes they pass it on to us. And we, the millennials, we have a lot of work to do. We just don't know it yet. Now, the things that our parents have, the traumas they've passed on to us, it's not their fault. They don't even know it because they were also there's no manual to raising a child. So they're just raising us on the knowledge that their parents have given to them, and they're passing it on to us. And we too, we're now trying to, it is our time life. Because we're like, okay, I've got to do better. The things that, okay, for example, let me give a good example. If when I was younger and we had guests come to the house and my mom and the guests are talking, or my dad, my mom, they're all sitting down with the guests, the look my mom will give me tells me what I need to do. The look, if she looks up and down twice, it means something. If she look at me like full blown with contact, it means another thing that, okay, you're either going to leave the living room where they're talking. But now we need to learn that there's some conversations we need to let our children to start knowing from a younger age. Not all conversations should children be involved in.
Do you think parents did not communicate enough when they are raising children?
Okay, let me ask you I'm going to answer that question by asking you a question. It's a Nigerian thing, using questions to answer question. When you were growing up, when I was growing up, you grew up in Nigeria, if I'm right. I didn't see my mom and my dad hug. Did you see your mom and your dad hug?
Well, my mom tries her best.
My
dad is usually very shy.
But did you see? But at the end of it, or some down the line, you have another baby brother or a baby sister. It's like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
But not this day and age where you see the parent are showing the love. Like, okay, you've got to love, you've got to hug each other, and it's something that you've got. That's why you've got to be intentional. It's not easy. Our parents. It's not their fault 100% because it's what they were also told and taught, and they're only trying to pass it on to us. Now, where the problem is the knowledge of what we have now. I don't know where we've learned it from, but the things we're seeing on the media and what our parents have taught us, they're now clashing. Like, okay, your parent will tell you don't do this. The media is telling you to ask questions. Now you've got to come to say what do you want to do. So there's some questions you don't ask about, and there's some things you still want to ask. Like we got children now that when you tell them do this, they're like, why? Do this one, why? But when I was not taught,
I can't. Like if I should ask questions, so you're asking me
exactly. Or I don't know if it's happened to you when you're talking to your parent, or they buy something and they come back from the market, they're like, where should I put it? Put it on my head.
They show me.
It's like, why? You don't need to be violent.
And that's very abusive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And at the end of it kind of causes a constraint between you and your parent because you're like, I don't know what mommy is going to say if I ask her this question. But it's not their fault.
But in a way, I feel like to them, they feel like they are raising a tough child that can go through life. Yeah,
but thankfully they did right, because I think we are able to hold it down together, unlike the newer generation, which I want to kind of say something about, and it's about the fact that I'm not pointing out that one generation is better than the other, but the millennial, we seem to be able to hold life, like even when life is really tough, you've got somebody to go to, talk, cry and all. But this new generation, they just want to be a trending topic to each other. And at the end of it all, they make mockery of each other. And you see, like, there's a high rise in suicide as well. And this is all because they don't have the strength that the parents, like, when, like, in a household, you've got a millennial and a Gen Z. Or if it's just one child, like, or if you have all the children at a certain year, you can have them all millennials, or you can have them all Gen Zs. And if you look at it, like the Gen Zs, they don't have that. They're very, very innovative. I must give that to the Gen Zs.
Very smart.
Very, very smart. But one thing they lack, no offense to Gen Zs, I'm sorry guys, is that they don't have the strength that we have. And I don't know
the
if
mental fortitude.
they don't have it. And I don't know why, but I always wonder. But then, because it's like, what is going on in their head? What makes them think
Let me try to explain.
that, okay, are you a Gen Z?
No. It's that there's a policy I learned growing up, which is that like strong people raise weak children. Weak children raise strong people. Like, for example, if your parents are not financially capable growing up, they raise you to be someone who has to make sure that like you give your best in life and make sure that like you're ambitious and so that you don't experience the same life they lived.
Yeah.
Now, if you are now comfortable and you have like a very good life for yourself, you want to make sure that like your children don't go through what you've gone through to make wealth, and so you make them weak.
How do you make them weak?
By the normal things that have helped you to become very strong. Like, okay, for example, like the things that you do. Let's say you had to like work or do like multiple businesses. But you're just like, okay, you go to school, and when you leave school, I'll provide you with a company, not allowing them like try things out for themselves and be more like.
I disagree.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, because I think for wealthy people, and let's call ourselves, let's speak into our life as well. We wealthy people, there's one thing that I believe is that you don't want your wealth to go away. You don't want your name, like if I start a business today and I've gone, or if I've started business a few years ago and I've done all these things, I want to be able to leave that in the hands of my children so that they can keep it growing. They're not going to have a relaxed lifestyle like you think, or a weak lifestyle. I think they're actually going to do more work because now they need to bring something else to that table that we we're talking about earlier on. So what are they going to add into it that is going to make it uniquely different from what mommy and daddy have established already? So I don't know if that makes sense. For example, I'm going to use a very good example, like the Eleganza family. Shadi Okoya is the one we all know with the man now, with the chief. And I saw recently that she is bringing her children, I think either the first one or I don't know which one of the kids, but she's bringing him into the business as well to understand it, to see how the business is growing. Yeah, they have a luxurious lifestyle. They're living abroad. They have their own dream houses and all. But she's not leaving it to say, well, because their father and their mother is made, like the name is made Eleganza. We've always known Eleganza forever in Nigeria. But what she's done is she's bringing the children into it to have a different vision as well, to be able to see, because she's also getting older. So a vision is going to be limited to, okay, now I need to start relaxing and maintaining myself, my health, and I can pass on things. So I disagree with the fact that I think that wealthy people start to raise. No, I think if you like, look at have you
so
ever
would you say
seen
Gen Zs are just weak naturally?
I think they're selectively weak in some aspect. I wouldn't say they're weak in every aspect. In some aspect, like they find it like, what's the aim of this? For example, you have, how would I put it? Like you can know a lot of things now that is being created. You're like, okay, for example, this how will I put it rather? It's like a potato something stirrer, and it's like, why do we want to, like, where is the love in you being able to make food yourself? Now everything is all on the app. Just put this together and put it there. Like that's you're not using your brain. And if I'm not wrong, I think maybe it was Albert Einstein or something that said we have not scratched 1% of our brain. If we have not, and Gen Zs are already doing all this, it means that they're using 0.0 something of their brain.
Guys.
No offense to Gen Zs, but I'm just saying that we need to be able to challenge ourselves in so many areas. And when you challenge yourself in some things, okay, I've spoken to you, you're my friend, and you've done something to me. The next thing I should be thinking is, how can I make myself better? Not looking for a way to revenge on you. It should be, how do I want to make myself better? And how do I want to make sure that this thing that has happened doesn't happen again? And not limiting myself to the fact that this is what my friend has said and just stick on that word. Like, people say things to you, but you don't have to don't have glue all over your body. Let some things be able to just drop off. You can have oil on your body instead, because sometimes oil hold on to some stuff. Let it be. But when you have glue all over your body or gum over your body, everything sticks to you. People call you fat, ugly, this, skinny, and all. Don't let it stick to you. It's their own mentality. You've got to let them know that, yeah, but I am healthy. How about you look at it in a different light rather than always looking at the negativity of what someone is saying to you? This topic is going to different places.
I'm telling you. Like I was just about to say that, like, we haven't even scratched.
We've not scratched the surface.
Definitely having like part 2, 3, and 4 of this, you know. But like,
bring it on.
No, like that's so good. I did feel the conversation. Look here, guys. Definitely, we haven't even touched anything, you know. So we're coming back next week with a bang. Different conversations, the same topic, but part 2. Okay. Make sure to leave a review. Make sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram and on WhatsApp. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.